Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, look in your mixer. Make sure your sound volume. Yeah, it's going now. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Everybody's going, yay, we can hear them. Don't know why, but.
Rewind. Take two.
Yay, we can hear them. Don't know why, but. Okay. Barry, they can't hear you. Look at your mixer there in the center of the screen.
Yeah.
Make sure your volume's going.
I'm going up here.
Barry, they.
Is that better? How's that?
Yeah, I don't know. Your mixer there in the center of the screen. Make sure your volume's going.
Now I'm hearing you feedback to me,
Honestly,
John.
I'm getting an echo.
All right, if somebody's got the YouTube channel up, turn the volume off.
Yeah, mine's muted. There we go. That's better.
Now I'm hearing you feedback to me, John.
Yeah, we're getting a bad feedback. The YouTube channel up,
Yeah, right. I have it muted on my end, Johnny.
I don't have it up.
I don't either.
Yeah. All right, it's feeding back through Barry on the through his OBS. No,
I don't either.
Yeah. All right, it's feeding back through Barry on the Barry, hang on.
Sure enough, Johnny.
OBS. Hang on, Barry. No. Let's see here. There's a monitor. Barry, hang on.
Sure enough, John.
Hang on, Barry. No. Let's see here. Oh, shoot. Where? Monitor. Barry, hang on. Hang on, Barry. Let's see here. Where? Monitor. Hang on, Barry. Now they put a new feature in where you can hear yourself through the headphones, and I can't find it right now. It's called Monitor.
Why would you want that?
Now they put a new feature in where you can hear yourself through the headphones.
It's like deja vu all over again.
It's called Monitor. Yeah. I'm trying to find this thing real quick.
It's like deja vu all over again.
Tell you what, Andy, if you can text Barry and see if we can get that monitor turned off. I can't find it. Tell you what, Andy, if you can text Barry and see if we can get that monitor turned off. All right, Barry.
Yes.
Go to the gear right there where it says mixer in the center of the screen.
Okay, hang on for 1 second. In
it says
OBS.
Right there where it says
audio. I see it.
Audio monitor. Make sure everything's off there, both lines.
Yeah, they're monitor off. It shows for all tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, OBS.
Yep. Yeah, the monitor is set off, but all the boxes are checked.
Both lines.
Yeah, they're monitor off. It shows for all tracks. Yeah.
Yeah, OBS.
Yep.
All right.
Track 1.
Technology, ain't it great?
Yeah, they're saying no audio.
How's that now?
All right, let's give it a second for them to start chiming in if we got audio or not.
We have audio, gentlemen?
Yeah, they're saying no audio. Yeah, but the feedback.
How's that now?
Now it's on, but we still got the feedback.
Start chiming in if we got audio or not.
Yeah.
We have audio,
I
gentlemen?
was going to say, try just one at a time and see what
Yeah,
happens.
with the feedback.
How's that now?
Now it's on, but we still got the feedback.
Yeah. All right. Something in the mixer.
We have audio, gentlemen?
I was going to say, try just one at a time and see what happens.
Feedback. Now it's on, but we still got the feedback.
Yeah.
Don't know yet. Still feeding back. Don't know yet. Still feeding back. Yeah, I'm still getting the feedback.
I'm not hearing the feedback here now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not hearing it either.
I'm still getting the feedback.
Well, yes, I am. Little. It's just delayed more than I thought.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see if that worked. I just clicked on my viewer. It turned out the volume was on. Yeah, normally it's off. I keep it off all the time, but for some reason or other it's on this time. And I'm not hearing the feedback, so I guess that was just coming from me altogether.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, the no volume in the beginning, that was Barry's fault. We'll put that one on him.
Take 3.
Jeez, come on. Yeah, because Andy just sent me a bunch of messages. I can't open them, and he knows it. iTunes. Yeah, everybody in chat saying there's no echo now. So I think we're good to go.
All right.
So, yeah, 11 minutes into the show. Well, DeBob said Barry's muted. Cannot hear Barry.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, unmute yourself.
All right. Still no feedback. Okay, good.
No feedback.
All right, cool.
It's my fault. You know,
All right, Andy just told me we're good to go. So
All right, cool.
hopefully. We'll see what's going on here.
All righty. I think we're...
Since this thing started up and we were having problems, didn't know it, you want to just start it all over again?
Sure enough. Shall I announce you again, Johnny?
Just start it from the top. Let's go again.
Take 3.
Take 3.
charm.
All right, gentlemen. Let me go back to our famous cover screen here. All righty. So, folks, welcome to YouTube Model Builders Live for Saturday, July 15th, 2017. Remember, YouTube Model Builders is your free online source. We have our YouTube Model Builders live show you are watching. We have our free online e-magazine. And don't forget, we have live chats and presentations on Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Tonight, our host will be the famous Johhny Reb. So, Johnny, take it away.
Yeah, here we go again. I'm not going to do my Big Bill impression again. That was too much. First time out the gate. So. But anyway,
They didn't miss anything.
yeah, no, they definitely did not miss anything. But anyway, did you say where Bill was, Barry?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm here because Bill has some family commitments that he had to go take care of. So he will be back next month. And y'all got me tonight, but that's okay. Still going to be, like Big Bill says, a really big show. All right, I had to do something at least one time there.
Ah, no.
That'll be the last one I do. But anyway, we're starting over here. Hopefully everybody's got it, can hear us all. They're saying it's all good now. How you doing, Ron?
I'm doing great.
Okay, that's what you said the first time.
Still good.
Okay, that's good. Glad to have you here on the show. Ray, how are you?
I'm doing fine, sir. Bit tired, but I'm here.
Yeah, you've got. That's what you get for having kids, you know. Yeah, right. Ray's getting this girl in college. This is her first year, so he's been having to spend a little time on the road, and that included today. He got home in time to take a 30-minute nap and then get right back up and jump in here with us. So, yeah, we'll try and keep him awake.
If you hear any snoring, you know who it is.
This is true.
But, yeah, we've got some giveaways here. Barry, you want to...
All right, so I just threw up giveaway one, Johnny.
You did?
Yes.
That's Dave's Steakhouse from Dave's Steakhouse, Miles Steakhouse and stuff. You get your choice of 2 sheets. They're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sets, or the smaller. Your choice. That's you'll find Dave at www.davart.net, daveart.net, and Dave's got some really nice decals.
Yes,
I get over there, and next thing I know, I've wasted about 45 minutes just looking through them decals, trying to decide which one I want to buy. I can't afford all of them. But be sure and go check out Dave's Decals. I mean, he's got some really nice stuff. And he's also added some new products to his product line. So go over and check him out and see what he's got. And number 2?
Number 2 is up, Johnny.
Yeah, that's the White River Productions. They are giving away a 3-month subscription to Railroad Model Craftsman. That's one of those magazines been out for a long time, and they always are a good read. So be sure and go to White River Productions and check them out also. But that's a good subscription there. And next one.
All right, number 3's up.
Yeah, now we got the punch plate bridge kit from Central Valley Model Works Incorporated. This is one really nice kit. They have been with us for a very long time. Everybody's really enjoyed these kits. It's a 150-foot HO or N-scale punch plate bridge kit. That's from www.cvmw.com. So you want to go check them out. And like I said, that's a real nice bridge. It takes a little bit to build it, but for a beginner or a moderate type modeler, it's not bad at all. It's a good bridge. And we'll go on to the next.
All right, the next one's up, Johnny.
Yeah, that's a road striping kit from Highways and Byways Arts and Crafts Store. That's a road striping kit, the package of balanced stripes for your mile railroad. I know we keep harping about this one, but you know, hey, it's a really good product, just like everything else we give away. Gino, he's used those in the beginning, and they weather really great. He likes the way they weather up, because we all know Gino's layout. He does kind of a older layout where the buildings and everything got some age on. The streets got age, and so he made the stripes look good too.
Hey,
But
Johnny,
that's highwaysandbyways.com. And you want to check them out, and we'll go on to the last one.
all right, that's up, Johnny. We're good.
I lost your audio, Barry.
We're up, Johnny.
Yeah,
It's up.
that's the well, let's see here. It says experience the evolution of prototype modeling using weathering decals from Weathering Solutions. And that's Eddie Bauer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been on the show before. and has talked about his products and all. And he does have a really good product here. So if weathering is something that's not your forte, or you don't think you can really do it, hey, go check out Weathering Solutions. They got some really nice stuff. Weathering streaks, dirt blotches and streaking. Got some graffiti in there. So they got a lot to work with, a lot to offer.
Yeah.
So you want to get back to the show now, or?
Sure enough, let me go flip us over. Alrighty.
Yeah.
We're back up, Johnny. And we have had some people noting that there's some static on some people's feeds. Other people saying it sounds good, so I don't know if the static issue is on our end or their end.
Yeah, a lot of times it can be on their end. So if you hear people in the show starting to R2D2 or you got that static, try refreshing. You can either go up to the top of your screen where you got the circle and hit that to refresh your screen again. We're still learning about this new system we're using to broadcast the shows. Ron said it stopped.
Yeah, you know what? I muted my mic and then turned it back on. Maybe that fixed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill was commenting the same thing to me, so. All right, well, it looks like we're better now.
All righty, that's good. Well, like I said, we've got our two special guests here. We're going to start out with Ron's trains and things here. Ron, number one question. We'll get the usual questions out of the way first, and
Sure.
then we'll get on into the meat and potatoes here, and the part that the people really want to hear. And there is, how'd you get into the hobby, and for how long have you been in here?
Well, I've been a rail fan since I was a kid. I grew up on a farm, and we used to literally unload sacked feed off of a boxcar on a team track. And so I literally spent my childhood running around into the yard. But I discovered model railroading as a hobby really just about 21 or 2 years ago when I was in my late 20s. And I had dabbled in several hobbies, and my wife and I were on vacation and walked into a model railroad shop, and I looked around and told her, I'm trading every other hobby that I do for this one right here. And that's exactly what I did. And been doing it ever since, and love it. Love it.
Well, that's good. Oh, this is a good show here. With you would think this is our first one. Okay. You want to let us know what scale you started in and what scale you might be doing now if it's different?
Well, I've only ever actually modeled in N scale. When I first got into the hobby, I had kind of planned to do HO just because that's, everything that was out there seemed to be HO. And I collected a lot of HO stuff. But at that point in my life, we moved quite a bit and just didn't seem to ever be able to get a layout started. So after about 3 or 4 years of that, I went to a hobby shop and just picked up some N-scale stuff, thinking I'm going to do a little portable layout just to practice and kind of have fun with until I could build my HO layout. And I played around with that N-scale layout for about 2 years and then sold all my HO stuff on eBay and never looked back. Just fell in love with it once I started in N-scale. So really, N-scale is the only thing I've ever actually modeled in.
Oh, okay. So I guess as you progress in age, like some of the rest of us, you'll just get thicker glasses and stay with N-scale. Huh?
That's right. Get some braces to steady my hands. And,
Yeah. But, all right, everybody has different places they locate their layout. Some are in the attic, spare bedrooms, out in the garage. If the wife has their way, it's in the backyard. But yeah, where have you got your layout at?
my layout is in the basement, and it actually shares space with our family room. So usually when I'm working on my layout, I've got one of my kids either playing video games or watching who knows what in the background. The visible layout's all in the family room, and then I've got staging in an adjoining utility room. But the visible part's all in our family layout, which is nice. It's carpeted, it's comfortable, which is fantastic. My previous layout was not in such a comfortable environment, so I'm really glad to have that space here.
Yeah, now instead of you having to holler at the kids and I'll keep it down, I'm trying to play with my trains. They're hollering at you, Dad, turn it down.
Yeah, could you mute that locomotive over there, Dad, so we could hear our game? That's
yeah.
They're lucky you aren't playing with Lionel or something like that.
That's a fact.
Really? And well, what did you name your layout, and what's it based on?
Oh, this layout is the Texas, Colorado, and Western, and that name is purely geographical because I modeled Texas and Colorado. It's based on BNSF operations in North Texas and Colorado in early 2000s, about 2006, and I used to be a Mopac guy. I kind of grew up along Missouri Pacific in west central Missouri, and that's when I started modeling. And for a variety of reasons, I kind of fell in love with BNS paint schemes. And then the area that I model in North Texas, I actually lived there for 6 years and thought it was just a place that begged to be modeled. And so when we moved from there, I decided that was going to be kind of the focal point. Saginaw, Texas is really kind of the focal point of my layout. Everything kind of revolves around the operations there.
All right, now since it's in the family room, how much real estate did they let you have?
Well, my family room's pretty good size, which is good news. The layout actually occupies a space that's about 20 by 20, and I think we've got a track plan we can look at a little bit later. It's kind of a Z shaped. It runs along the walls on one side of the family room. So there's still plenty of space for everything else that's down there, and there is a lot going on in that family room. It's our TV room and my home office, and there's kind of a spare bedroom corner there. There's a little everything happens down there, but I got about 20 feet by 20 feet that is dedicated to the layout, the visible part of the layout in the family room.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if Barry wants to go ahead and bring up the first. Yeah,
I'm going to bring up the lower deck, I guess. So.
Okay.
We'll start talking about that. While he's doing that, this layout, is it running like a rail fanning, or like some people call a loop-to-loop, or are you going to do some operations on it?
It's built for operations. It's a point-to-point layout. It's double-decked, connected by a helix, with a staging yard on each end in that adjoining family room. I do have an auto-reversing loop that goes around each of those staging yards, so I can turn trains. I technically could run trains continuously that way, but it's really set up for operations. I got to know some people in the previous place where I lived that were really into operations and got me really interested in that, and so I built this layout with that specifically in mind.
Okay, we got one comment over here. This is Troy Simpson. He's, if I remember correctly, he's in California. But he says, so he lives in the basement. Basement dwellers unite. I think Troy's in the basement also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got your lower deck up on the screen here, Ron.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just start over at the very far left side of that. What you really see is a diagram of my whole basement there. And over in the very far left, you'll see my utility room, and that's my staging yard. The staging yard on both decks are almost identical. And you can see the auto reverse loop around it there. That little yellow section is actually a lift out section. I've got kind of a double lift out there so we can access the rest of the utility room through there. And then kind of towards the center, you see where it comes out into the main family room, that big L-shaped room. That's Fort Worth, Texas. And there you see that little bit of a curved yard. That is an interchange yard. Downtown yard is an interchange between BNSF and Union Pacific. And that other little kind of stub-ended track there is the the stub for the local Amtrak station there in downtown Fort Worth. And then as you come on around that little short peninsula, you come into, again, the focal point kind of the layout, which is North Yard in Saginaw, Texas. And I've got a number of industries along the backdrop there. You can see I've got Atterbury Grain, which is a large grain elevator. Victory Blue, which makes the diesel exhaust fluid, is there. I've got a paper distributor, cold storage facility, a factory that makes like pelleted and sacked feed called Evergreen Feeds, Universal Forest Products, which is a lumber distributor. And then as you kind of swing to the right up there at the top in Saginaw proper, Koch Industries, which is a asphalt company. Quality Carriers is a transloading facility for both liquid and dry foodstuffs. And then Trinity Industries Railcar Division, which at the time that I modeled made air slide covered hoppers. I've got a very truncated version of that facility there as you go into the helix. That's a 9.5 turn helix from there up to the upper deck. Literally, I've got as much track in the helix as I have on the whole visible layout. I kind of thought about whether to do that or not for a long time, but I really wanted enough separation between the two decks to be able to put grain elevators on the lower deck. I've got 2 of them down there. So I've got this big helix, and you could go to the upper deck now if you want. I'll kind of finish my way on around.
Right, so we got the upper deck there. Let me flip it over. All right, upper deck's up in the screen, Ron.
Okay. Well, starting there at the helix, working our way back, right there at the helix is the little town of Bowie, Texas, which is about halfway between Saginaw and Wichita Falls. And you see Wichita Falls in that yard on around the curve there. And again, a number of industries. Bowie's got a couple of rail-served small industries, Farm and Garden, Barron Brothers Farm and Garden, and Midwestern Mud Services, as well as a propane dealer. And then Wichita Falls has a tool and die, another grain elevator, a team track, has a scrap dealer there in Wichita Falls. And the one thing I failed to mention on the lower deck, on the end of the peninsula, one of the things I really like to model is interchange traffic. Got that UP interchange. I failed to mention the interchange with the Fort Worth and Western there at Hodge Junction. And then here at Wichita Falls, there's an interchange with the Wichita, Tillman, and Jackson. And that's that kind of set of angled tracks that kind of run along back towards the backdrop there. And then the rest of the layout and the visible portion there takes us into Colorado. It's fictitious Colorado mountain scenery. One of the compromises that I made to get real estate in the family room was my wife said, you've got to make some mountain scenery. And it's not the most prototypical for BNSF, but it's going to be some nice mountain scenery anyway. So that was my compromise.
Yeah, they
and so
merge with the Canadian Pacific, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So it just kind of follows the mountains on around there and then back into, as you see, the staging yard like we got down below. And then I've got, I think, just 2 or 3 pictures of parts of the layout. Of course, is very much in construction stage, but I've got a few pictures of a couple of things on the layout.
Yeah, here's your first picture you sent me.
Okay, that picture is.
Started on that.
Sure, Johnny.
Jump in here with a comment.
Good.
We got Mike Vance. He said he lives close to Saginaw, and I'm not exactly sure what kid he was referring to, but one of the kids you named off, Red River, just made a Tower 55 kit.
Yeah. And I didn't mention that. I'm not modeling the diamonds there because I just don't have room to put the UP trackage in there. But I think I'm going to put a model of Tower 55 in that corner just because it needs to be there. You just kind of got to have it in that location. So that's good to know. I'll have to check that out because that's a model I definitely was looking towards building.
Yeah. All right.
We're back at that we're on that third picture. Is that what I mean? The first photograph.
First photograph, yeah.
That's the that would be the south end of North Yard that you're looking at there. That's Atterbury Grain against the backdrop. And then, of course, the yard tower and offices and the mechanical building. Everything that you see in this picture, in the foreground anyway, was all scratch built based on photographs I took when I lived in the area. And this has kind of been the area that I started whenever I started really starting to populate the layout. And you kind of see how the yard ladder works there in North Yard, and the engine service track there as well. Okay, you can go on to that next one.
Well, quick question I have for you.
Oh, sure.
Because being a photographer,
Uh-huh.
how do you go out? Do you ever get any issues going out and taking photographs of big industries like this?
I haven't. I try to be pretty careful because I'm aware of people that have.
Okay.
Main thing that I try as much as possible to take my pictures from public property.
Right.
I don't want to get into issues with, and North Yard, this end of North Yard, if you're there, literally there's a street that runs. I think at one time it actually crossed right over the tracks on the south end of the yard. It's been closed off, but you can drive right up to the edge of the yard on a public street and get out and take photographs of these things. The street just runs right to it. So a lot of these was not a problem at all.
Okay. Well, here's your next one, number 4.
Okay. That's Bowie, Texas, and you see in the foreground there, Barron Brothers Feed. That's one of my most recent builds. In fact, I made videos about this one and for the big build contest that's going on now, and that's on my channel. But I've got a friend in Fort Worth, Doug, who grew up in Bowie, and he has been really, really good to go back home and take a lot of photographs and email to me. So I've had a lot of fodder for this, but trying to really replicate Bowie in a realistic way. Now we got a long way to go. Obviously, you see I've got very temporary streets and too much there, but we're working towards it.
All right, let me bring in your next one.
Okay, now up in the mountain area again. This is very much in progress, but this is some of my Colorado mountain scenery. What you see straight ahead there is what I'm calling Beggar's Canyon. Star Wars fans will know where I got that name.
Must be womp rats.
That's right, exactly. I try to figure out how to model a womp rat, but if I figure that out, I'll get one on there. But you see that stream down below there, going to have a nice camping scene right in there. And some of my favorite places to shoot video is down in that valley, looking up at that trestle as the trains go by. And you see that train going in and out of tunnel number 1 here. And you can't see it in this picture, but to the right, where this goes around the peninsula, I've got a large rocky mountain that literally took 3 months casting rocks trying to build this thing. If I had known how long it was going to take to build it, I probably would have covered it with trees. But that's been a lot of fun to build. And then that last picture is just on to the left of that one. And there I've got a little more completed scenery. And those who have watched my channel, one of my most popular videos has been the one that I made about how I make pine trees. And I'm going to be making a lot of them, so I'm going to get a lot of practice by the time this layout is complete. So that kind of gives you a little sense of what the layout entails. And
we got a couple of questions that came up here for you, Ron.
Sure.
Walt World says, what's the distance between your decks for one?
The open distance between my decks is 14 inches. The actual distance from the track height to track height is about 18 inches. So it took me nine and a half turns with a 2.25% grade to get from one deck to the other on the helix.
Okay, and then UP Train Man 6936 says, so you scratch build a lot of your structures?
Combination. I kit bash a lot. There are a lot of things that I'd like to scratch build if I had time. Sometimes you just have to kind of make do with the best kit or the best kit bash that you can, just sheerly out of the sake of time. But I do a lot of scratch building, and I enjoy that a lot when I can get the time to do it. So I would say right now about half of what's on the layout has been scratch built.
Okay. Johnny, do you want to ask that last question from Troy Simpson?
Let's see. Oh, where did I find the 1 to 160 X-wing fighters? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. You hang those from fishing line going right down into that canyon.
And Troy's got another question too.
Okay.
Yeah, how?
Yeah, it said, how do you construct your bench work? Table design, shelf design, and what materials did you find work best?
Okay. My lower deck is an open grid, and literally what I did is I went in and I put a 1x4, what I call a tie plate, on every stud in the wall around this area where the layout goes. And for the lower deck, I made a I said open grid. I made a closed grid out of 1x3s, and then I've got a 1x3 brace that runs at an angle from the front of the bench hook down to that tie plate, and it's just screwed right into that tie plate. And the upper deck is supported with just shelf brackets, steel shelf brackets, and I was a little concerned about some of the weight because my mountain scenery is all hard shell. There's a lot of plaster there, but when I got it built, I realized it was pretty sturdy, and I haven't had any issues with any of it sagging. But it's literally just held up on shelf brackets and then 1x4s that are laid flat, and everything is tied right into that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that was one of the concerns that Ron and I had when I was looking at doing a dual deck layout for this for the Boeville, was how I was going to support that upper deck, especially since with the way this room's set up, that was not going to be up against the wall. It was going to be a freestanding layout. And it's like, okay, well, how do you support that upper deck and keep it from wanting to fold over on itself?
Well, mine's all, of course, it's all tied in together, and that's a big part of what helps support it is the fact that it's tied into the other portions. But that little peninsula that I have, I literally built a couple of legs out of 2x4s that stand up and made kind of basically an 1.5 inch thick wall. And I hung the upper deck on both sides of it. Of course, it's balanced because there's upper deck on both sides. And once I got the bench work built, I was concerned about it, but it was just about as strong and sturdy as I could have ever hoped for it to be. Now, it's not a real long peninsula. It's only about 6 feet long. But I've had no issues with movement or anything once I got all the deck work and the backdrops and everything in place.
Yeah, Walt Swirl was asking, how do you like the lower deck? My smart aleck answer would be glow sticks.
Everything on my layout is lit with fluorescent lighting, with T8 fluorescent lighting.
Oh, wow.
So I've got 4-foot T8 fixtures underneath me behind a valance. That's why I said, I've got 18 inches between the track, but about 14 inches of visible distance. I got a 4-inch valance there, and I those boards that I put on top of my shelf brackets, I left hanging out about 5 inches beyond the end of the bracket, specifically so I could mount my lighting for the lower deck underneath the upper deck.
Yeah.
The only place where that's really a drawback is on the kind of S curve on the backside of that little peninsula. It's pretty deep back in there underneath that upper deck. But I'm kind of building that up in the background and putting some Z-scale structures back there for some kind of forced perspective, and I think it's going to work okay. You've got to be pretty low to look back in there, but for the most part, that's the only spot that really I have major visibility issues. I'm pretty tall, so I have to bend down a little bit, but most people that are 6 feet tall or less, they don't have any viewing problems, with the exception of that one little spot.
Yeah. Just to clarify, is the T8 the LED type for us?
No, they're regular. They're the smaller fluorescents, but
Okay.
they're
Smaller
regular
diameter
fluorescents.
bulbs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the white.
They're 8/8, so they're actually 1 inch in diameter. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Dwight was asking, do you glue your track down, or how do you fasten it down?
Yeah, it's glue. I use cork road bed and glue the cork road bed down with wood glue, and then I glue my track down with a pretty thin layer of latex caulk. I really plan for the ballast to hold it in place, but until I get ballast, in place, a thin layer of latex caulk. And one thing I do, because of the part of the country I live in, humidity is a big issue, and we definitely have major seasons here. So I especially on straight sections, I leave about every other section unsoldered, and I actually take a piece of 20,000 styrene and stick between the rails whenever I lay those rails, so it leaves a little bit of a gap intentionally, which gives you a nice clickety-clack sound on those metal wheel sets, but it also gives you an expansion joint in there. And as long as it's, soldering every other joint, and then make sure you put in plenty of track feeders, beyond those unsoldered sections. My previous layout, I had a lot of problems with kinks with the changes in humidity. I've only had one in whatever it's been, 4 years since I started laying track on this thing, where I had a kink problem. That was on a curve. So,
yeah. So I mean, you stagger your joints. A lot of people like to stagger the joints. That kind of lessens the kinking.
Right. You're talking about staggering the soldered joints? Is that what you're saying?
Any of your joints.
Right.
I mean, like the layout I'm working on for a special needs fellow, I'm going to stagger. When I put two pieces of track together, those rails, I'll stagger them probably about 3 inches. One rail,
I see.
Connect 3 inches away from the other rail.
Right. I haven't done that. I've put them in there pretty well straight, with the exception of curves, obviously, where you get the flex around the curves. But on the straight sections, no, I've just put them in straight.
Yeah, I found on curves, just go ahead and solder every joint.
Yeah, I solder everything on the curve. In fact, I solder on curves. I solder them in advance, and then that way I get a nice even curve around
you
it.
have to do that. I was doing a small pizza box layout, so it's got some hugely tight radiuses. I had to pre-solder the two sections of track, because when I got to the end to solder it back together to the loop, I had to pin it in and hold it really tight with track gauges so I could solder, because it wanted to pop straight. And so, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you always want to solder your joints. Well, Johnny, it's quarter of.
I know.
Won the giveaways again before we get to Ray?
What I wanted to do was I wanted to get this one last question in, because that way it's for Ron and Ray.
Okay.
So we'll do this one, and then we'll go do that, and we'll come into Ray then. It'll be a good lead in for Ray.
All right.
The question is from Walt again, Walt's World. What is Ron and Ray's favorite part of the hobby and the least favorite? Want to go first, Ron?
The least favorite is easy. I hate ballasting track. Did you notice there's very little ballast on this layout yet? That is far and away my least favorite. As far as my favorite, I could name a few things there. I love making scenery. I love operations. I suppose those two things would probably be my top two. Love operating the layout. I've never had a really complete layout, so I don't know how I'll ever handle that. I think I'll get pretty antsy, because I just, I like to operate, but my hobby is really building layouts more, I guess, than having one, because I've never actually had a complete one before. So.
Interesting.
Right? Wow. Oh. Yeah, I guess as strange as it may sound, I mean, it's one of the things, maintaining this thing. I mean, I know it's going to get worse when I get into the new layout, and it's one of the things I'm going to take a lot of preventative steps, and listening to not only Ron but a bunch of the rest of the YouTube model builders. thankfully, the room that I have is fairly well climate controlled, but it doesn't matter how climate controlled we are. We all know that we're going to end up with humidity problems, temperature swings, and so on and so forth. But the preventive maintenance on this thing is probably one of my biggest issues, and one of the things that I don't do enough of, and a problem that, it started when I built the thing. I mean, where it was before was a lot more climate controlled than where it is now. So I'm starting to find some real idiosyncrasies with this thing that I didn't expect when I built it. As far as my favorite thing, to be honest, there are so many different things. I love building buildings, running the trains, operating a layout. I mean, there's so many facets to this thing that and even with its age, I just love to just go in here and tinker. I guess that's the best way to put it. I just love to get down here and just mess with it, even if it's just doing one or two things when I get the chance, which I haven't had a whole lot of recently, but, just getting down here to tinker. Just mess with it. Just get in here and try something different.
Okay. Well, I guess, Barry, when you're ready, we'll run the giveaway one more time.
All right, our first one's up, Johnny.
All righty. And you said that, and I jumped and clicked the button. All right. We got Dave's Steakhouse. That's models, decals, and stuff. You get your choice of 2 sheets. They're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sets or smaller. Dave's got some really great stuff there on his website, and he has been adding some new products in there too. So be sure to go check Dave out. He's at www.daveart.net. That's DAVART.net. Like I said, he's got really good stuff. One of these days, I'm going to be spending too big a chunk of my Social Security there. So
make sure you get some of those onion skin newspapers of his.
Yeah. He just started doing those. They look good. He said they were working good too.
Yeah.
All righty, we'll go to number 2.
Number 2 is up.
All right, that's going to be White River Productions. It's giving away a free 3-month subscription to Railroad Mall Craftsman, and that is one really nice magazine. It's been around for quite a while. Seems like everybody in the hobby, knows Railroad Mall Craftsman. I think some refer to it as RMC.
Mm-hmm.
They always have the good articles there and talk about some really good stuff. So be sure and check out White River Productions too. And we'll go next one.
Next one's up.
All right, that's going to be your all-time favorite, the Punch Plate Bridge Kit from Central Valley Model Works Incorporated. We do appreciate them. They've been with us pretty much from the beginning, haven't they, Barry?
Yes, they have.
Yeah, they've been big supporters for us. They are giving away the 150-foot HO or N scale punch plate bridge kit. And you want to go www.cvmw.com and check their website out for all their other products that they have. And this is a good building bridge here. Once you get it built, it's really nice looking.
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
All right, next one's up, Johnny.
All right, road striping kit from Highways and Byways Arts and Crafts Store. That's a road striping kit, a package of vinyl stripes from your 4-year mile railroad. These things look really great when you put them down, and they take weathering really good too. So if you got a well-weathered road, they'll blend right on in there for you. That's highwaysandbyways.com.
Absolutely. And our last one's up, Johnny.
All righty. And that's Mr. Eddie Bauer. Weathering Solutions. He's designed a bunch of decals here for, the word just eluded me.
Graffiti?
Yeah, graffiti. Thank you, Barry.
Mm-hmm. That's what
now I
they pay
see
me
why
the big
Bill.
bucks.
Yeah, I see why Bill keeps you in the payroll. Won't you on the show every time? Oh, hush, Ray. But Eddie's got some really nice decals here. He's got ones for rusting, gives you streaking and some blotches, and then he's got the dirt ones for where you got blotches and runs. They all look good. Eddie's been in the show. He showed off his wares, so go check him out. The winner of this is going to have some good set of decals to use. One thing that's good about this is if you don't think you can do weathering, or you're just new to the hobby and want to get some weathering done, hey, go check these decals out. It's a good way to get started.
Absolutely.
All righty.
All right, we're back to the show, Johnny.
Okay, let me get back to the show. I'm not used to being on this side here, you know. I'm not sure if I want to call this the dark side or what, you know. I click a button and nothing happens. Okay, now we're off to our other favorite guest that we have here tonight, and that's Mr. Ray Boebel. How you doing, Ray?
I'm hanging in there, sir.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Trying to get that girl of yours in there for a higher education. But she'll do well.
She got to do better than her papa, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. Oh, well, the kids nowadays usually do. That's one of my hopes for my son, too. He do better than me, and he has. So, what's going on with your layout? You still got the 4 loops in there, or?
Yeah, the old layout is still in place down here. I think it was vlog 17 for this year. I did something a little bit different. I had actually gotten a I was messing around with a selfie stick and actually did a flyover, which is something that I hadn't messed with using my cell phone. That turned out rather. I don't know if I'll do that again or not, but it was a different perspective, that's for sure. But now that the layout's still sitting here, and probably going to be a little bit, and I know we're going to get into the future of this thing, but you know, I'm going to keep this one going a little bit longer, and then once things settle down a little bit, it'll start coming apart, and I'll make sure that that everybody is aware as to what's going on and as it happens. To a point, I'm looking forward to it, but on the same token, I'm really not looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, for the new people that haven't seen you in the previous shows, can you explain a little bit about your old layout there? I understand you got 4 loops and you do passenger operations.
The way that this layout is currently set up, it was originally built in a 13-foot by 11-foot room. It was built to be viewed from the middle, or from the pit, as I call it. The outer 2 most loops are 22-inch radius. They run the 2 passenger trains. There's one for the north side, one for the south side. And then the inner 2 loops, which are 18-inch radius, those are specifically freight lines. I model HO. The layout itself, and in fact, one portion of this actually dates all the way back into the 1950s. It was started by my grandfather back then, and it's just steadily been built upon and rebuilt and then added to, and over the years to the point that it sits now. And like I said, one of the things that I will be doing once I build the new layout, the original 1950s piece will be a part of the new layout. There's no question that has to stay. It will be a functioning part of the new layout. I think one of the most talked about things though on this layout is the operating swing bridge that goes across the pit. That seems to be, when I first took the video of that, and of course I've been on YouTube now for what will be 3 years this December. When I first showed that bridge, There was everybody was, how the heck did you put that together? That shouldn't work. It's you know, all these different comments, and then when I went in and actually explained how it was built, everybody that made the comment, it was like, okay, now I understand how you did it. Because when the bridge is open, it actually shuts power down to the whole layout, and that was done on purpose. Because one of the things that happened in the very early stages was somebody had forgotten to turn off something and opened the bridge, and said locomotive took a 3-foot dive.
Ouch.
Thankfully, that was on the carpet, so it kind of bounced. But it was just the point. It was at that point I was like, you know what? Before something more expensive ends up on the floor, we need to put some safety on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that happened to my club too. The first time we had our layout out, I drove one of our 2 functioning engines off the end of the layout 4 feet onto concrete. Luckily, I was able to snap the tender back together and rehook it, and it kept running. But we put plexiglass up after that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good when Mr. 040 decides to take a nosedive 3 feet to the floor.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you gotta be careful too if you got keep alive in your locos.
Yes.
Even though you kill the power, it's still going to keep going.
That's one of the things, and of course it was a comment that came up on my last vlog, vlog 18 for this year. I apparently, and I forgot who it was, I apologize, I think it was M&M Rails, made mention of the fact that, you know, he was like, oh, this is really cool. Here it is, you got a guy who's still uses pencil and paper to design layouts, is still strictly DC. Old school.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. I'm still DC. So when the power's off, everything stops.
Nice.
Or at least you hope.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the Athearn locomotives will keep running, but
yeah, they got good flywheels in them.
yeah, but they won't move. They won't go far, but they'll keep going.
Yeah. So there behind you, I see some shelves.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it looks like you got yourself a pretty good collection of locos, passenger cars.
Yeah, these shelves, and I did on one of the vlogs, I think it was in 2015 or 2016. These shelves handle all the locomotives that I have for the railroad, because I don't have room for them presently on the railroad. The roundhouse that I have has very limited space. It's only got space for 7 locomotives. However, the layout itself, I've got 7 there, and then I've got 4 more passenger trains that are staged underneath the 2 towns, and then there's 2 freight trains that are actually staged. So there's about 12 to 13 locomotives actually on the layout.
Wow.
But the rest of them sit over here, and some of these, especially the ones to this side, are too big to actually run on the layout. I mean, I've got a 282, a 484, a 210-2, and then of course with the diesels and the electrics down the bottom, they're just too long for the way that the layout's set. And then if I parked them anywhere, they'd get hit by a passing train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's either that, or you'd end up with the locomotive and 1 car behind it, because the staging tracks underneath the 2 towns just aren't long enough to handle those long locomotives. That was a minor design flaw.
Just minor.
Just a little one.
Yeah. So with all that, it looks like you've been in the hobby for quite a while now.
I have actually been in the hobby. Well, my father started me in it when I was obviously really young. I really started taking a interest in it in, I guess, 1975, 76-ish. Was active with it until I went into service in 88. And then kind of got out of it for a little bit. And then when I came back home, I'd already started buying some HO gauge stuff, but at the time I had no place for an HO gauge layout, and I know Ron and some other folks can relate. So I actually built, and I've talked about this in the past, I actually do have some N gauge stuff that belonged to my grandparents.
Now you're talking.
And I actually built a test bed layout that was literally on a single bed frame. The layout ended up being, I think, like 4 foot by 5 foot. And it was just a single loop that was a folded dog bone, but it was enough to give me some ideas and things to play around with. And I did that for about 2 years. And then when I moved into my first house with my wife, I was like, you know what? I need to go bring the HO gauge stuff back over. And when I first started opening up the boxes after my brother and I had gotten it into the basement of the townhome that I was living in, I was like, yeah, I'm done playing with N scale. I got to go back to HO. And then, of course, then Evil Bay kind of took over, and that's where a lot of this stuff came from. But no, in all seriousness, I enjoy it. I mean, like I said, now I've really been pushing myself and been a part of this again since I guess the year 2000. So I've been back at it really, really hard charging for 17 years, and I don't see myself really. I've had to slow down a little bit over the last couple of years. People who follow me know that I've had some family issues and things of that nature. Now my daughter's going off to college this fall, so we're ramping up for all of that. So, you know, the last couple of years have been a little bit tough for me, but you know, once things settle down, then this is going to be what I'm going to be focused on.
Well, with that, Ray, do you want me to bring up your new track plan for everyone to see?
Absolutely. Let's shoot it.
Because Walt was asking, what are the new features you might be designing into the new layout?
Yeah, it's up on the screen now, Ray.
Yeah, they do the new layout, and I'm going to pull up a picture of it because I'm going to go into the YouTube because of the audio issues. But one of the biggest things that I'm doing is I'm actually scaling back from the the quote-unquote 4-track main that I had. I'm actually scaling it back to a 2-track. We're going back to more prototypical operation. Passenger and freight will share the same set of lines. With the new layout plan, and then I know it's up on the screen, there were a lot of compromises with this. I really came to the realization that I was trying to stuff 10 pounds of stuff into a 5-pound space, and it just wasn't going to work. You know, those who follow me again know that I've been playing around with ideas now for the last 3 years. And in fact, this is now plan 43. And it's really a rough draft. It's not even detailed yet, of where I want to go. And on the left side, I guess it's the left, is Boeville with the yard. That's kind of how it sits today. It's actually reversed from the way it sits today. I'm going to have to flip it. And the dark blue, I don't know how well it's going to show up, Barry, but there's these dark blue lines. That's the backdrop.
Okay, yeah, we can see them, yeah.
Okay. So you got the red is the yard tracks, and then there's these 3 red loops in that middle peninsula, that middle hole.
Right.
That's where Boeville Station will. So the way Boeville sits today, Boeville Station and Boeville Yard basically sit next to each other. Because of space constraints and what I was trying to achieve, I actually had to move Boeville Station to the opposite side of the backdrop. So there's actually a thin blue line that runs through there that denotes where Boeville, that second tier, will sit, which will hide those tracks. Your main tracks are those 2 green lines that kind of float around the whole thing. And one of the more unique things with this, because I wanted to get some longer run time, is I went with the peninsulas. And this particular plan has got 3 of them, which might be somewhat unusual, but like I said, I was trying to make the most of the space without going up. And of course, there were folks that were like, well, why didn't you go 2 decks? I messed around with that idea. I played around with that idea. The problem was, is with all the different storage that's down here, the furnace, the water heater, the sump pump, the gas meter, you know, all the utilities, there just wasn't room to put in a helix and make it work.
Right.
Go ahead.
What you can do is, looking at this, you can say, well, I shaped it like the letter E, which means excellence.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, very nice.
I like that. You know, so I went through that whole dual deck and the helixes, and in fact, there was one really weird plan where I came up with an idea of having an elevator that would take it from the first level to the second level. You know, I had all sorts of different ideas as to how I could get trains between the two, and it was just, no, this looks great if you just want to play around. If you're trying to operate this thing, forget it. You're going to drive people absolutely nuts. So, you know, you have the visible part of the layout, which has got the three peninsulas. And then once you get over to the right-hand side, that's where Newton's farm will be, and then it passes into the backdrop. And then, you know, on the backdrop side, the top of the page, pardon me, you actually have the 2 yards, the 2 hidden yards. Now, it was funny because the other night when we had our test show, we were kind of discussing, you know, how this is going to work, and those 2 yards are actually going to be handled by 5-finger Mike. Where the train will come in and it will be broken down by hand and put into storage boxes underneath of that yard. And then the car cards that are, and because you will be using car card and waybill eventually, the car cards would actually go in the pockets by that yard. So that way when the next schedule comes up or the next cycle comes up, you can look at those cards and you'll be able to tell, okay, I need to put this train together next. So I can go ahead and leave the yard, go back around the loop, and then go back behind the backdrop. One of the things that this still gives me, and it's one of the things that I've wanted since day one, I wanted continuous run. With this here, I've got 2 tracks of continuous run, so I can just come down here, flip a switch, watch the trains run. Or if I have a couple people come down, we can actually go ahead and we can operate the layout. The aisle space, for the most part, is anywhere between 2.5 to 3 feet. The only place it's not is up by the Harrisburg yard on the far left, upper left corner where the sump pump cabinet sits, and also over where the bench sits. It's actually only going to be about 1.5 feet. But I took that as being another one of those compromises. I needed the space. And to be honest, if I get this thing operating the way I want it, you'll have one person sitting at Harrisburg, one person sitting at Richmond. So there's no reason why anybody would be going across that angled spot by the bench. So that shouldn't be a problem. And then over by the sump pump, kind of the same thing. An operator would probably be standing up closer to that sump pump cabinet to pull the train out of Richmond Yard and actually into Boeville. So it's not like they would have to be back there with the 2 people that are working the yards. They wouldn't be interfering with them. They would just watch their train come out of the yard, and then once it's on the main layout, they're following it across the layout the rest of the way.
Yeah, I really like the way you did the backdrops and everything, because it makes the layout seem like small vignetted scenes, and it makes it look much bigger than it is.
Right. The whole room, and unfortunately I didn't send you this one, but the whole room is actually, from the display shelves to the opposite wall, is about 23 feet. Mm-hmm. And then from the bench to the storage area, actually the bench to the furnace and water heater, that's about 12 feet. 14, actually it's 14 feet. With the bench, it's 14 feet. Without the bench, without the bench, it's 14. With the bench, it'd be 12. And then the rest of it is the usable space ends up being like 11.5 by 21.5 feet. And I didn't go as big as the room actually is for that. It's actually kind of compressed from side to side and top to bottom to make sure I have room to open up the doors for the storage area, to make sure that if I ever have any issues with the furnace or the water heater, that the guys can bring that stuff in without having to move anything out of the way. I still have access to my main water shut off and my gas meter, and then obviously to the sump pump and to the storage doors at the bottom. The one that's all the way to the far left on the bottom left-hand corner, that's where the electrical shutoff is. That's where the electrical panel sits. And like I said, everything is, most of those, where those shutoffs are, that's definitely 3 feet, which I believe is Maryland standard, that for safety, it has to be at least 3 feet.
Yeah. What code track are you using, Ray?
Currently, I believe I'm running 83. I think it's the most common for HO scale.
Yeah, 83.
I've been running that for years. Most of it down here is, most of it's still brass. There is quite a bit of nickel silver because I started buying nickel silver because of the properties of it being better than the straight brass. And I can actually tell where my straight brass track are and my nickel silver tracks are.
Ron, what code were you using in scale?
I use code 80.
Code 80, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to go to code 55 one of these days. The issue was really a matter of turnouts and the expense of the turnouts. They were not as readily available when I first started this, and the ones that were pretty pricey. So I went ahead and stuck with code 80.
Yeah. Okay. Because, I mean, we had a couple of questions there, so I just wanted to get that in from both of you. Barry, what are we doing on time? I know we had a late start, so I was kind of letting it run a little
later. It's quarter
after
11 right now, so if we wanted to open up the giveaways and let people start filling their information in, then we can continue on with Ray. So let me get that set up.
Yeah.
And then I'll get back to you guys in a moment so you guys can keep on kibitzing.
Yeah, we'll do a little table dancing or whatever here. So
nobody wants to see me dance. Or sing for that matter.
Hey, well, why don't you throw Ray back up and
all right. Let me grab him here.
Guess I'm going to
there's Ray up there.
Got my camera off just for a minute. Ray?
Yes, sir.
While Barry's doing all that, just what kind of social media are you using besides the YouTube channel? And
I actually have a Facebook page for the railroad, and on the Facebook page I also have a group page for the railroad. I have a G+ or a Google page, but I haven't updated that in I don't know how long. People could shoot me for that one. Obviously, I have YouTube. Been active on that now, like I said, for about 3 years. And here, within the last 4 months, I've actually got a Twitter account as well. I know I'm about 5 years behind the times, maybe more, but, you know, hey, I'm better late than never. Like I said, I'm old school.
Yeah, I'm going to have a little word with Logging Logos here, JD. He said, hey, Ray, and then he goes, hey, Big Bill, which I know he's probably wanting to say hey to Ron. Evidently, JD's not wearing his glasses.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, he's been out on vacation, so he must have lost them. But anyway, what about you, Ron? What social media are you using?
I too have a Facebook page dedicated to the layout. Find that on Facebook. Just look for the Texas, Colorado, and Western, or TCWRY. I have a Twitter feed. I've got my personal Twitter feed, but I've got a new one for that kind of goes along with my YouTube channel, Ron's Trains and things wouldn't fit, TNGS. And then I also participate in a number of model railroad forums I'm pretty active in as well. Train Board and nscale.net and Railwire and a couple others. So I'm everywhere out there. You can't get away from me. Right. I will find you.
Oh, I've got to do this. I'm sorry, but I know JD's going to want to kill me for doing this, but let me get back here. JD's our editor-in-chief of the E-Magazine, and I have several friends that are, very big on grammar and everything else, and he said, I know Big Bill in not histing, and then he goes hosting.
Anyway, hoisting.
Yeah. I'm hoisting. Hoisting myself.
We running over there at the E-Mag.
Yeah, JD's great. I mean, he's got a good sense of humor. He's got a good sense of humor, but he don't give me much opportunity to kind of, get him there.
Well, folks, I got the page is now open. So if everybody goes to YouTubeModelBuilders.com, and at the very bottom of where it says YouTube Model Builders Live, you will see the entry link. So you just hover over YouTube Model Builders Live, and at the bottom you see the live show giveaway entry form. When you get in there, fill out your information. The passcode is, this is just for you, JD, EMAG, E-M-A-G, all lowercase. So go ahead and put that in and get your information in. Please do remember, you can only go in once. We check for duplicates.
Oh, yeah. We do that.
Hey, Ron, did you put yours in yet?
Where's the eject button, Johnny?
About halfway down the screen.
I used a pseudonym. It's foolproof,
Uh-huh. Your IP address ain't.
Had my wife enter for me. That's
There again, your IP address ain't. But then again, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Got another question for both of you while we're waiting on people to sign up. And how did you find YouTube? Ron?
How did I find YouTube, or how did I get started on YouTube as a creator?
Both.
Okay. I don't know how I found YouTube. Well, that's not true. I remember how I found YouTube. I found YouTube originally because somebody sent me a link to a comedian that I fell in love with and did a lot of stuff on YouTube. That's how I first got started on YouTube as a consumer. And I found pretty quickly, hey, there was some great model railroad stuff on there.
So that's how you came across our community then.
That's exactly. And then as a creator, I'd kind of thought about starting a channel for a long time and had kind of put it off. And then I came across a channel really just in the last 6 months of a channel that I really enjoyed. This guy does just kind of a monthly show. And I thought, I was watching, I thought I really like what he does and I really enjoy this, but I could do that. And so I just decided I'd give it a shot. And then this spring, Eric Hall hosted his second Big Build contest, and I saw that and I thought, this is the time. So that's literally what got me in as a creator, and I just kind of jumped in head first, and I've kind of set up trying to create not just a place where I can post stuff about my layout, but I'm really trying to create more of a channel that's got a regular schedule, and I try to do something a little bit entertaining as well as do some good model railroad stuff whenever I do those. So that's kind of my story. I haven't been around very long. I've only been on YouTube about 3 months,
Well, I tell you what, it's working because, I mean, I've heard comments from people. You know, we do live chats almost every day. Yeah, there's been a number of people in there that said, yes, you have some good videos. They enjoyed watching those.
I appreciate that. I got a comment from somebody just today on one of my older videos and said, you know, your stuff's informative, but it's really entertaining to watch. And for me, that was the highest compliment, because that's really what I want to do. I want to be informative and useful, or nobody's going to watch it, but I want to be entertaining at the same time. Yeah. And there's a lot of guys out there that are just, you know, they do their layout updates and stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love watching that stuff. I'm just trying to do something a little bit different, and I'm having a ball doing it. I have a lot of fun. So. Yeah,
I mean, a good mix between the information and, you know, something comical, or, you know, a little bit funny. Throw a little humor in there. That makes a good combination.
My real goal is to do stuff that should embarrass me, but really just embarrasses my children. That's my whole goal. You know, I started this thing. I started the channel in April, and my son is a senior in high school, and my wife is a school teacher. And my son just rolls his eyes every time I say something about Ron Strange and things. And before he knew it, all the kids at school had found out about it and was coming in begging my wife to play it on the smart board in her classroom. There were boys on his baseball team who said, we want our walkout song to be the theme to Ron Strange and things. And he's just rolling his eyes saying, would you just stop this thing just until I graduate, just until I get out of school? Like,
hey, Ron.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Ron, I tell you what, you need to get you some magnetic signs made up. So if you ever have to go to the school to pick your son up, you put him on the seat side of the vehicle. It says, Ron Strange.
Got that RT and T logo. It's green and orange. You can't miss it.
Nice. I'll let you borrow my bright alien green key to do it, too.
There you go.
What about you, Ray?
I was sitting here thinking about how I got started into this whole thing, and to be honest, I don't remember if it was I don't know if it was because I caught the November 2014 show, or if I had been floating through YouTube looking for something. Because to be honest, one of the things that had fascinated me and still fascinates me to this day, and I'm not sure if anybody else follows it, is the Miniature Wonderland over in Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, yeah.
If you have not seen the videos of that thing, do yourself a favor and go into YouTube and pull up Miniature Wonderland. Their layout is absolutely incredible. I caught it when they were building the airport. And, you know, most people would be saying, well, wait a minute, an airport? They have got a fully functioning HO scale airport on that layout. And I think what happened was I was actually watching one of those update videos from them, and below that, something from YouTube Model Builders popped up, and I was like, well, what's this all about? So I clicked on that and watched it. I think it was a show, like I said, I think it was like the November 2014 show.
Wow.
And I think it had Derek Glass on there, and a couple other folks. I know Barry was in there. I know Big Bill was in there. And
that was right after we took it over. You know, when Mike was on his move, September of that year is when Bill and I started running the live show, and so this September will be 3 years for us. So the YouTube Model Builders itself started with the live show 3 months before we took in, you know, to running it. So it's actually over 3 years old now, but us as the official group now will be 3 years in September.
But, you know, I sat there and was watching that, and then I went in and I started watching other videos. I actually saw Derek Glass's videos, Gino Sharp's videos, VinnyVid, BNSF, what is it?
6951?
Yeah. Started watching some of his, and was like, and this is right before Christmas, nonetheless. And I'm like, you know what? Just like Ron, I could do that. And and the thing of it is if you go back and you look at the original videos that I did in December of 14, and that's when I got started. Compared to where I'm at now, and how much I've changed, how much the editing has changed. Because back then I didn't even bother editing them. It was just capture it, send it over to YouTube, boom, there it is. And, you know, now I've got an intro, I've got music and everything else, and just like with Ron, you know, I try to put out something a little something for everybody, to be honest.
Yeah,
because
Barry changed the screen.
Yeah, I just saw that.
What's that?
I had the splash screen sitting up at How to Win while you guys were talking.
Oh, okay.
That was me sleeping at the throttle.
Okay.
Well, Ray, I want to say this. I told you this on the tech show the other night, but the other day, whenever you posted your last vlog earlier this week, and I happened to be watching it that afternoon, and my daughter, who's 20, come walking through, and she was just cracking up at how you crack. I mean, how much fun you obviously have making the vlogs. And she's like, man, he really cracks himself up. But she was just loving that. So
I wish I could amuse myself as much as Ray.
Right, yeah. You know, to be honest, and it's. And I don't know if Sparky's watching or not, because
he is.
Yeah,
we all know Sparky's had. And hey, Sparky, how you been, bud? You know, it was kind of funny, because if you look back, it was not really funny, but if you look back a couple of weeks ago, when I finally got a chance to get back down here after my daughter graduated from high school, so on and so forth, and I actually had a chance to get down here and put up a quick update. You know, it was like there were so many people that looked forward to me putting stuff out there. Maybe not so much because of because I know I'm not doing anything down here. You know, other than, you know, I did have a couple of videos last year where I was doing locomotive maintenance and so on and so forth. But, you know, I have found out real quick that a lot of people look to my channel just for a couple of things, but they really look forward to the comedy and how light I keep things, and that's just me. I mean, here it is. I know a while back, John, I was on a Thursday night hangout, and when John realized I was in a room, he's like, "Oh no, we need to make space and bring Ray in here for a minute, because we need to get Ray on here for a minute." So you know, it was that, but that's cool. I mean, I don't have a large following, but I think the following that I do have is great. I mean, I look forward to putting the videos out, and when I'm not on, you know, I'm notified about it. Trust me. People are like, "Where the heck have you been?"
Yeah, I tell you what, when I made that comment about the magnet, kind of opened the floodgate here a little bit. More ideas for you, Ron.
Okay.
Said to get one of the hatch covers that looks like a train coupler. Get you a bunch of like refrigerator magnets. And while your son's in class, you go in there and you stick them on everybody's locker around his.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's an idea.
To the peanut gallery over here to help you out getting in trouble with your kids.
Oh man.
Yeah, we will drive you right off the end of the tracks, buddy.
that son just graduated, but I got one more coming up, so I got plenty of time to
if you need any cannon fodder, we'll help you out there, Ron. It's not a big thing. We're full of ideas. Most of them aren't any good, but we're full of ideas.
I don't know if they'll watch any of that, but I'm going to make sure that they watch this segment right here of the show for sure.
So, Johnny, looks like I think we're leveled out. We're about ready to pick us some winners. What do you say?
Okay, that sounds good. Let me get my screen back up here so I can follow along on the giveaways anyway.
Okay, we are on episode 38. Wow, before you know it, we'll be at 50.
Shoot.
All right. And a drum roll, boom, poof. Winners have been picked. Okay, the winner of giveaway number 1, the fabulous decals from Dave's Decals, is Mr. James Miller. So congratulations to James. The winner of giveaway number 2 is Mark Stewart, and that is the 3-month subscription to Railroad Model Craftsman. The giveaway number 3, the ever popular bridge, is Martin Jenkins. Giveaway number 4, the road stripe decals from highways and byways, is Andrew Gilmore, our favorite buddy from down under. And then giveaway 5 Weathering Solutions decal set is Lloyd Henchy. So congratulations to everybody.
Yeah, congratulations.
Somehow we just lost Ron.
Yeah, he'll be back. He's learning to become a bad habit. He keeps coming back. Oh,
hang on. Let him in here.
I got it.
You got it? Okay. That's nice. Now I see how that works. Okay. Hey, Ron. Welcome back.
Hey, I don't know what happened there. I got kicked out, but I'm back.
Yeah. No, you just wanted to show Barry how the knock door works.
Right.
Yeah, here you go.
It works.
UP Train Man said the kids pulled the internet connection. Just remember, who was it? Hang on here.
Andrew.
Andrew Gilmore says, "Don't make fun of the kids. They may have to look after you when you get old."
I just
Wait a minute, when I get old, I thought I was already there.
I keep telling my youngest one he's got to get a really good degree because he's going to have the house with the basement and the swimming pool that we can move into someday.
There you go. Well, gentlemen, I think it's been a fun show tonight. We certainly had some good laughs, has some few technical burbles and hiccups, but we got past all that.
Yeah, really.
It's all Barry's fault.
Yeah.
I'm sitting over here feeling helpless because normally this isn't the seat I sit in, so I'm sitting here clicking my buttons trying to figure it out. And I'm going, wait a minute, this ain't working. I'm not even connected here. Turns out the echo was me because normally when I call this up, I'm not on the public side of the YouTube, so it always comes up muted. But
that's what
I didn't realize when I'm in the public side that my audio wasn't muted. So
yeah, now I got my OBS back into sync here, so my Obi-Wan's working real good now, so we should be good for the next show.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to say congratulations to everybody. And Barry, you got any last thoughts here or questions?
I know everything went pretty good today, other than our technical hiccups. Just to let everybody in the community know, I'm going to be taking a short few months break, probably to sometime in the fall. I'll still be doing the live show with Bill and or Johnny, if he's here. So I'll be taking a break from the Fine Scale show and the tech show for a while. But we'll have some new interesting stuff coming up in the fall. And then at that point, I'll probably float back in and get some more things going. Just need some time around the house, some time to myself, and actually get back to doing model trains for a while. So, but I figure I'd let everybody know. And then we did have one question. If Mike is coming back, Modeler Man Mike. We really don't know at this point. I'll check with Bill, when he gets back home and see, maybe we'll find out some information, but hopefully at some point he's able to come back in and, join with us. And I'd also like to thank everybody for the congratulations on my recent marriage. So I got married on June 24th, so thank you all. Great woman, very supportive. Loves my trains, loves my photography, loves my Eagle, so that's so much nice about her and everything else along with it. Very happy, so thank you all.
Yeah. Now I got a question, Barry.
Yes, sir.
What kind of birthday present was that for me?
That was your birthday?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'll be darned. Why you're not on Facebook, you can come to my Facebook page as your birthday. That's why.
That's one reason why I'm not on Facebook.
Yeah, it's scary. But I know a lot of people's birthdays thanks to Facebook that I never knew before.
Well, that's what Facebook was a birthday reminder.
It's pretty good at that.
Yeah.
I'm Mark Donovan. Just remember, I come to Amherst every year.
All righty. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wind this one up and put her in the can.
Oh, wait a minute. We got a request from Andrew Gilmore to sing Happy Birthday to Johhny if anyone wants to take part in that.
That's all right, because that was last month. Y'all done missed out. So. Yeah, y'all missed out.
Yeah, I know you do, Mark.
I like my sleep at night, okay?
Yeah, that would haunt you, I think.
Yeah. Like I do have a mute button over here that still works.
This is true.
But anyway, I want to say thank you, Ron, for coming in. And I know Bill's going to be wanting to have you on some more shows later on. And be good to watch. You do have a good channel. So hopefully you'll be getting a few more subscriptions now. Ray, been a pleasure like always.
Always, absolutely.
Yeah. We're glad to have you on, and
I hope to see you next month, Ray, at the museum. And remember, it's like 18th and 20th.
I mentioned something to my wife and daughter when we were on our way down to St. Mary's on Thursday, and the only thing of it is that that's the weekend before she goes.
Yeah, that might be tough.
So I'm going to drag her out of the house, and I'm going to drag her up there anyway, and that'll be the last one of those father-daughter things that we get a chance to do.
Yeah, and I totally understand.
You know, so I think we're going to do it. We'll see what happens. But you know, it's. I definitely want to get back up there because of the, you know, that was a good time the last time I was up there. And,
absolutely.
You know, that's a blast. I want to thank the community. I mean, to be honest, I think, and I know Ron's just getting into this, but to be honest, there is so much support out there, and it's one of the things that I've told my wife a couple of different times because of the different things that I've seen happen, and the community, our community is extremely special, and I really appreciate everybody that comes in and watches and leaves comments on our videos and watches the YouTube Model Builders Live once a month because they're the ones that keep this train rolling.
Well, thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Yep, definitely appreciate it. Well, tell you what, I think we've had a really good show. So, Barry, if you want to throw the splash screen up and
absolutely
give the channel a little bit of recognition there.
All right, folks. Well, don't forget to check out YouTubeModelBuilders.com, your great free online resource for everything related to model roading. We have our free online e-magazine put out by JD, Mr. Log and Locos, who's hoisting something tonight, and him and his crew do a fantastic job. We have our live chat and presentation hangouts during the week on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And then, of course, as we are here tonight, you have YouTube Model Builders Live, your once-a-month live show coming to you from the YouTube Model Builders team and our guests. So be sure to stay tuned to all that. Folks, it's been a pleasure. Johhny, thank you once again for filling for Bill. Ray and Ron, thank you very much. And we are out here.
Thank you, and Jordan.
And, folks, to quote Bill, we'll see you on the radio, folks.